Hello there. This video will tell you how to install the mostlyLinux operating system onto your PC. Now currently I'm running the mostlyLinux livecd, which is using only the RAM space in the computer's hard drive and is not actually affecting your hard drive in any way. So basically what I'll have in front of me now will not actually be affecting your computer in any way, since it is running directly from the livecd. Now here I have the automatic login page. I click on login. In this case I do not need a password. Now I have the desktop in front of me. In the desktop I can try out all the applications and all other features in this particular operating system without even installing it first. So if you want to try out mostlyLinux before installing it onto your hard drive, you can click on the applications menu, try the graphic apps, the internet apps that are given to you by default, the sound and video apps, and the system tools. Now in the system tools, you might want to go to the gparted partition editor. The basic feature of the gparted partition editor is to divide and allocate the space between the different partitions in your hard disk. Now the partitions include the first one, that is the C: drive, the second one is the D: drive, and the third one is the E: drive. Out of these three drives, you can select any one other than the C: drive to install mostlyLinux, since the C: drive contains the Windows operating system and you may lose data if you use it. Now I am going to empty one of these partitions, but before you do so, you must ensure that you have saved all the information contained in that partition in a different partition which you will not be using for installation of mostlyLinux. This way you will be able to save all your data, because otherwise all your information will be lost. Now I am going to go on to the third partition. I'll right click and press delete. So now the space is unallocated. Now I right click on the unallocated space and click on new. Now the new button will let me create a new partition. So here under the file system I select Linux swap, and under new size I type 2048 MB, which should be sufficient. It is about 2 GB. Then I click on add. Then in the rest of the unallocated space I again select new. This time the file system will be ext4, and then I click on add. Now I have two new partitions in which I am going to install mostlyLinux. The changes that I just made have not yet been applied to my hard disk, so you need not worry in case you have made any kind of blunder in this case, because the changes haven't been saved. You can still correct yourself. Now to apply the changes to my hard disk, I'll just click on the green tick mark at the top, and that will apply the operations. It will warn you first that there may be loss of data. So now that my applying operations are complete, I'll close the window. There you go. Now I want to install the operating system to my hard drive. So I'll just double click on install to hard drive. Now the installation process is going to start. I'll click on next. I'll select my language, that is United Kingdom English. Now I have the host name. The host name is actually the name given to the default administrative user of the operating system. This is the root user which will be controlling the operating system, and in this case the CD is going to provide you with the default name that will be the host name, but you are free to edit it and write your own name or any other name that pleases you, and then you can click on next. There you go. Now you have to select the time zone. For me it's Asia, Kolkata, since I'm in India. So I'll go to the menu and I'll select it, and then click on next. There we have the root password, Now I enter a password of my choice. It should be strong enough. This will be the password to the root user. So I advise you to remember it because you will really need it in the future. Then you click on Next. In this menu, we need to select Create Custom Layout because in case you end up selecting any other of the options, it may lead to undesired results, and that is not something we want. It may also lead to loss of data, so it's always better to click on Create Custom Layout. Then we click on Next. Here you can see the different partitions that we had edited earlier. The first two partitions are those used by Windows, and the next two are the ones that I just edited and made them into the mostly Linux partitions. Here I have the swap partition and the ext4 partition. All I need to do is select the ext4 partition, click on Edit, Mount Point, select / format as ext4 and click on OK. That's all. My editing in this case is done. So I'll just click on Next, then Format, and then Write Changes to Disk. This is your last chance to make any changes with the partitions. So I've clicked on Write Changes to Disk, and that's all. Now I get the choice to select which operating system will be opened by the computer by default when I switch on the PC. After installing Mostly Linux, I will get a menu that will give me the choice of selecting either Windows, which is my second operating system, or Mostly Linux as to which one I want to access. So here I can select the default one so that if I don't make a choice, the computer will take me directly to that operating system. Here I have selected Mostly Linux, and we go on to the next operation. There. So all our editing is done, and now installation is complete. So congratulations, your Mostly Linux installation has been done. Now you can go ahead, close it, shut down, go to System, shut down, and click on Restart to check out the features of your new operating system. Now I'll show you another way to edit your different partitions without going to the gparted partition editor. The gparted partition editor has a number of features, for example resizing the partitions and many other features, but if you try to use it to edit your partitions, it may take a lot of time to do so. So here is a process to edit your partitions during the process of installation, and this process is much faster. So here we don't have to open the gparted partition editor. We just go ahead, go into the installation process like we have discussed before. There. Now we have before us the three partitions. We didn't go to the gparted partition editor, so we'll be directly editing it from here. I'll click on the third partition, click on Delete. So after deleting, I have some free space with me. We'll go to Create, click on Standard Partition, then go to File System Type and click on Swap. Here the size should be 2048 MB as we entered before. Click on OK. In the rest of the free space, we click on Create, Standard Partition, click on Mount Point, click on / fill to maximum allowable size. Let it be the ext4 partition. That's all. So now we have done the allocation of the partitions. So all we need to do now is move on. We click on Next, write changes to the disk, and that's it. So that's how you have completed editing your partitions, and this way your installation will be complete. So these are the two simple ways to install Mostly Linux onto your PC.